Boy, it was a big day. Are we in the twilight zone with NC State? We're going to answer that question here with Kenton Gibbs, resident knower of ball here on the show, or KOB for short. Locked on ACC, Locked on Wolfpack, joining me here once again on the show. NC State, one of the two power programs that had their spring game on Saturday. We'll talk about Auburn tomorrow on the show, but Kenton, number one thing that stood out to you during that NC State pregame, or spring game rather, was what?
The wide receiver room and the pass catchers in general, this is a complete 180 from last year. It was Kevin Concepcion or bust last year. It was, if you can't get it to 10, yeah, that's about it. Maybe we'll sprinkle in a little bit of Trent Penix here and there like it's parsley and we're an IG chef, but that was about it. That was all you were going to get. And this year, you have Noah Rogers, dog. Wesley Grimes, dog. All he catches is touchdowns, a 30-some-odd yarder and a 90-some yarder. What a freak. And then you look at the tight ends as well, absolutely showing up and showing out. I am pleasantly surprised. We knew that the wide receiver room was going to be upgraded because Joker Phillips, he didn't just get in his bag. He got into Louis Duffel. He got in that Louis Duffel and said, Prime said he was coming with his baggage in this Louis. My man, Joker Phillips, said, don't worry about it. Y'all think y'all got Louis. Y'all got swap meet Louis. You got that Louis that you're going to get on the corner of 5th Ave and Lenox. It's not the same as our Louis. This is the real, authentic deal. And I'm telling you, that group with Grayson McCall, C.J. Bailey, or Lex Thomas, they looked special.
Yeah, I thought that their, pass catchers, KC is just... That's a dude. That's a number one wide receiver in college football. You got to have that in an offense, and it's the best friend of even a veteran quarterback like Grayson McCall, who I really felt looked as advertised for the Wolfpack here, and head coach Dave Doeren, just so solid, accurate, arm strength, some tight window throws. I thought the best throw he made, I don't remember if it was to Concepcion or not, but it was, an over the middle kind of glance dig route on a switch release in zone coverage, and he sees the window, throws a dart, catch made as guys are converging down on the wide receiver. I just looked at that and thought, yeah, that's Grayson McCall. Yeah, he's accurate. He's solid. He's not, special. I don't know if he's a big NFL guy or, has those sorts of traits, but he's someone who you can win a lot of football games with, because he's going to deliver the ball on time, on target. He'll make good decisions. I thought there was another play as well where, he's facing pressure, rolling out, everything's covered, just threw it at the feet of his running back, right? Yeah. You're not going to have those kind of freshman mistakes, and we'll get to C.J. Bailey in a moment. But that was my assessment of Grayson McCall. What did you see?
I agree. You talk about he's not an NFL guy because NFL requires one of the extras. But in college, you just need the bare necessities. And what are those, right? It's be on time and it's be on target. If you can do those two things in the college football game, you are indeed a quarterback that teams will win because of. If you can just do that, be on time and on target, you'll win plenty of ball games. And like you alluded to on that deep post pattern against, I believe it was covered 2 or 4. I can't remember which one, but I know it was an open middle of the field. Any way you cut or slice it, when you see that type of thing happen, you know that may not be a guy with a big-time NFL arm that's going to zip it around 60 yards on the knee. He's not going to make the out route to the other side of the field, and that ball is going to seem like it's getting faster as it travels. He may not have that type of arm, but you don't need that to be successful in college. You need to find your receivers, make the right read, put it on the numbers. That is all. That is it. How many guys have we seen go on and win it all with that? Now, does NC State have the talent surrounding him that some of those guys that have won it all have done? In the wide receiving core, it looks like a yes. In the running back room, it looks like a yes. The offensive line, the depth is a little bit of a question, but if they can stay relatively healthy, they'll be good there. But again, Grayson McCall is not going to be asked, hey, we need you to come into this offense and be Lamar Jackson. We need you to come into this offense and be Cam Newton at Auburn. We need you to come into this offense and be everything, or what's that movie? Everything, everywhere, all at once.
Everything, everywhere, all at once.
Yeah, he doesn't need to be everything, everywhere, all at once. He needs to be the best version of himself, hitting passes on time, and what else?
On target.
That's it.
And I think he's really capable of doing that. You look at the numbers he put up over the last several years at Coastal Carolina, has done a really, really nice job. And I also felt with him that he looked like he fit in to the offense really well. I don't think they, or certainly in a spring game, you're keeping things pretty vanilla, but I think that he can execute everything that they need him to in a capacity that allows them to succeed. Now, the rest of the team has to be able to succeed as well and be able to pick him up. He's not necessarily a guy that'll come in and go for 400, 500 yards all the time, lead the country in passing, and they're certainly not going to run an air raid offense with Dave Doeren and company there in that offensive staff. But I thought the McCall was good. I thought the weapons looked impressive. I thought the running backs looked good as well. But there was a little bit of a glimpse for NC State fans out there at the future, Kenton, because boy, I tell you that guy CJ Bailey, I don't think that's a name that college football fans know right now. If you're not an NC State fan listening to or watching this show, you may not need to know that name this year, barring an injury to Grayson McCall. Mm-hmm. But next year, that's a name in the ACC, assuming it's still around, that fans are going to come to recognize.
I can't remember which rapper said it, but I believe the phrase is, if you don't know, now you know. Because if you watch that game, CJ flashed things that weren't even supposed to be in his bag. Yeah, we all know he's got the big arm, and he had those 2 receivers that are 4 or 5 stars, all the offers in the world. We knew he could throw the country mile. We knew he could do all those things. When he tucked that ball under his arm, and he said, jab step, and got upfield, 69 yards.
Was not touched. Was not only wasn't touched, there should have been an angle for him to at least be touched, and then there just wasn't.
And that's the special thing. Because quarterbacks are not supposed to have angle breaking speed. For those of you who don't know, angle breaking speed means, for the most part, defenses chase guys and we tackle predicated on an angle based on, all right, he's away from me. I can't go where he is. I'm going to end up trailing him. I need to go where he's going. Defensive backs are really, really fast. Just in case you didn't know, those short guys with the big dreads and all that, some of them got waves, some of them, even some of them look like Spencer in college. In the NFL, not so much. But when those guys get to running, they can generally predict, oh, he's going to be there. My speed dictates I need to go. He said, oh, you think you got the angle? You think you got the drop on me? Have fun with that. Sayonara, see ya later, pal. That young man is special. And in the words of Dewey from Malcolm in the Middle, the future is now, old man, because that boy can ball.
He can. And I think that, Grayson McCall, still very clearly the starter. That's going to be the game plan for this year. But the future heir apparent for NC State appears to be ready in waiting. Let's get you out of here on this, Kenton. We've talked about a lot of the good things that we've seen, the weapons, the quarterback play. But what's the biggest question you still have about the Wolfpack after their spring game on Saturday?
Yeah, so with every one of these plays that we're talking about is good, there's a downside of it, right? And here's the thing. The DBs, despite the fact they were getting torched by and large, they're not a downside because they were there at the moment of truth for every single ball darn near. It was just like, if he makes that play, you tip his cap, you go back to the huddle. Here's where I do have a problem. On that 69-yard run and plays of that ilk, where are the linebackers? I saw a little too much, a little too many false steps, a little too much, I don't know what's going on right now. I don't know what my zone drop should be. I don't know what marker I should be hitting. I don't know what my dog pattern is. I saw a little bit too much of that. And that's a little concerning. And that's why I said it feels like you and I all fair chat about this. And I said it feels like Bizarro World. NC State, the home of Bill Cowher, the home of Peyton Wilson, the home of Nate Irving and T-Todd, Terrell Manning, and you got all of this grand history of linebackers, which, of course, we just saw a trio, a trifecta of absolute dogs in Drake Thomas, Isaiah Moore, and Peyton Wilson. You're now looking at that group like, oh, this could be an Achilles heel. We have got to get our run fits proper off them because the 3-3-5 is heavily reliant. Tony Gibson loves the 3-3-5. He's not coming up off it. Him and the 3-3-5 go together real bad. The only problem is if the linebackers cannot execute in the 3-3-5, it is Katie Diggs at the doorstep for opposing offenses. That is just the reality. Despite the fact that Aiden White ain't gave up a touchdown since I had a firm hairline, despite the fact that Davin Van is one of the most underrated defensive linemen in the country, you will not see a 3-3-5 defense be good while the linebackers are out of position on a regular basis. So that needs to get cleaned up. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. But if there's any position coach that I trust that I can say, give him 5 sentient Roombas and 1 good football player, and he'll make a good unit, it's Tony Gibson. So we'll see what they can do.
Kenton Gibbs, Locked On ACC, Locked On Wolfpack, and resident knower of ball, friend of the program. Kenton, thanks as always.
Hey, I'm always glad to be on. Spencer is my brother from another mother, and if you ever see us in person, it's like Gary Bertier and and Campbell from Remember the Titans. We brothers. You don't see the resemblance, baby?
I see it. It's everywhere.
I see it all the way.
It's evident. It's evident. It is absolutely abundant. Is it abundantly clear what Illinois is going to do in the Big Ten this year? Maybe not.